Okay. So, I know last time we talked about a thought record, and I see you did your homework with that too. So, I kind of want to go over that right now.
Okay.
So, if it's okay with you, I would like to also still ask you the questions to get your perspective on it as well.
Yes, that would be fine.
Okay. So, can you talk about the triggering situation that you felt recently?
Yes. So as you know, I have put a lot of pressure on myself to have my house look half decent. For if people come over and things should look good and do good. Well, I came home from work a few nights ago. I have a job where it's very physical, and I came home from work very tired. My back hurt, my feet hurt. All I really wanted to do was just to come home and sit and relax and put my feet up. Well, I pulled in the driveway and our neighbors were over. They have a beautiful little daughter who's 4 years old. But because the guests were there, right away I became irritated and anxious because I knew the house wasn't as clean as I'd like it to be. I knew that I needed to make dinner and then wanted to rest. But now what I would end up doing would be playing with the little girl Janie.
Okay. So you felt upset because you felt like you had to do a bunch of different things because you had guests over.
Correct, yes, and it
Okay.
wouldn't be my being able to just relax or,
Mm.
just to rest mainly and to have dinner. I felt like those were things that I would need to do first.
Okay. So that actually brings us to our next point. I want to go over some of the emotions that you were feeling during this situation. So, could you go over some of the emotions that you felt, and then on a scale from like 1 or 0 to 100, just talk about how high intensity it was for you.
Sure. I would say the first emotion was being very tired, very
Okay.
exhausted. As I said, the job I have is very physical,
Mm.
and so I have a backache. I'm tired. I'm cranky, sleepy,
Mm-hmm.
but just really want to just eat a small dinner and just rest.
Yeah.
The next feeling was probably irritation because I didn't expect guests to be at the house and knew I couldn't just let myself just ignore them and just go in and rest because that's not a polite thing to do. Um, and that I would probably spend time playing with the little girl Janie,
Mm-hmm.
which I love to do, but obviously that takes time and just again not just being able just to plop down if you want to say. Um, and then irritation. Did I say irritation for her?
You said tired and irritation
Oh,
so far.
and anxiety because I knew that I had to get dinner done. I wanted to get some laundry in. I wanted to rest because I needed to get ready for the next day where I had to go back to work again.
Okay.
So feeling like there was a lot of things to do and overwhelmed with them.
Okay, so just to recap, you felt pretty tired from work. You said you had a very physically demanding job.
Yes.
You were irritated because you felt like you wanted to relax when you got home, but you knew that you would have to kind of be a hostess for the company that you had over, and you felt anxious because kind of the same thing. You felt like, okay, I need to do this, I need to do that before I can do this. Yeah.
Right. And I think because of how I am, I'm not much of an impromptu person. I'd rather know that people were going to be coming so I could get things ready to where I felt comfortable.
Mhm.
So when I come home and there's guests, there are people that I didn't expect, my reaction is irritation.
Okay. Okay. So, could you, for the tiredness, anxious, and irritated, can you just rate like how high each of those feelings were?
Yes, tiredness probably would have been up at about 95.
Okay.
I was really tired and sore. Um, Anxiousness, probably 80 maybe.
Okay.
And irritation, probably 50. I wasn't
Okay.
angry, just irritated.
Okay. So then let's go over those thoughts itself and the emotions with it. So I guess let's start with tired first. What thoughts were you having for that?
That I just was exhausted, that I just wanted to make a quick dinner and go flop on the couch and watch mindless TV.
Okay. Okay. And then we have anxious. What was your thoughts for that?
Anxious was, okay, I need to eat something. I wanted to sit down. I need to get out of my work outfit and change. I needed to sweep up the floor a little bit because one thing Janie loves to do is play with the old Barbies that I have. But certainly I didn't want her sitting on the floor if I hadn't swept it and cleaned it up first. So, and so how to get all that done and give myself just a chance to breathe, to get all that done.
Okay, so you felt like you were anxious because you had to do multiple things before you could sit down and rest.
Right, kind of rushed. Like there was so much to do in so little time. Just because I didn't want her to have to wait too long and things.
Okay. And then the last one we have is irritated.
Irritated was just, as I said, I'm not really an impromptu person, so the emotions were, I wish I would have known. I hate when people come over and I don't know, because I would have done this with the house, or I would have put this out, or I would have made this for them to, some snacks for them to have. Just I don't like being unprepared.
Okay, so next I would want to focus on what what automatic thought you think is the most important, something you'd want to work on.
I think probably the anxiety.
Okay. So let's kind of go over that again. You talked about how when you got home from work, you felt like, okay, I see my neighbors and their child, Janie,
Yes.
over. And you felt like, okay, I know she likes to play with my Barbie dolls. I want to get the living room ready for her so that it's clean enough where we can play with the Barbie dolls. But you also thought about how you're tired, you want to eat, you have to get your work clothes off. So you were trying to think of multiple steps. And I kind of want to break it down from there, because it seems like you felt like you should be doing these things. I want to go over what would happen if you didn't do these things. What's your thought in that aspect?
Well, all right. So if I didn't eat, I would be not feeling good. I'm diabetic, so I have to have food, and so I would be dizzy and sick to my stomach. If I didn't get out of my work clothes, I was very sweaty, and so it would not be. I'd be feeling very dirty and very. I need to feel fresh, so I would have been more irritated. That would have irritated me. If I didn't play with Janie, she's a child, and sitting outside with adults is not a fun thing. So, I know she enjoys playing with my dolls and talking and spending time with me. So I think she would have been sad and disappointed, and I didn't want her to feel that way. And with the floor, it wasn't horrible, but if I didn't sweep it down, I wouldn't have felt comfortable with her sitting on the floor.
Okay. So, obviously, you need to eat, you're diabetic, and changing out of your work clothes is something that's preferable.
Go ahead.
Okay, so then let's focus on the thought of seemingly being a good hostess. It feels like you want to make sure that Jane is played with, you want to make sure that she has a clean surface on, and if you don't have these things done, you feel like in a way that you let her down, or you're a bad hostess. Okay, is that am I getting that correct?
Yes, I think it's more that letting her down. She loves playing with my Barbies, and again, the adult sitting outside talking. She's only 4 years old. It wouldn't be fun for her, and I do enjoy playing with her. So yeah.
Okay, so let's focus on that. So we picked anxiety, and the thought we have is, if I don't do these things for her, I might let her down.
Correct.
Okay. So, is this a thought that you can disregard without any further consideration?
For me, no, I can't completely disregard. No.
Okay. Now there are a few distortions here, and I kind of want to go over a few. There's a lot of different ones, but I want to focus on one that's more fitting for this.
Okay.
So as I'm looking at your homework here, you chose the shoulds
Okay.
for the distortion. So that meaning you felt like you should be doing this for Janie. You should be cleaning up for her. You should not rest because you want to make sure that she's taken care of.
Yes.
Is there evidence for this automatic thought?
Not external, but internal. It's something I hold myself accountable for.
Okay, what do you mean by that?
I think just the way I was raised, feeling like I needed to do certain things to be a good person, to make sure that others are taken care of. So it's my own internal judgment zone, if you want to say.
Okay. And then, what's evidence against this automatic thought?
Well, I mean, what it would be is while Janie would be disappointed, and I do enjoy spending time with her, it wouldn't be the end of the world. She wouldn't hate me. She would be sad, but the next day she'd be asking if we could do something else. So it's not a thought that has earth-shattering ramifications.
Okay, so even though generally you think that you should be doing this, if you didn't, if you were too tired to do it, you know that there wouldn't be any lasting ramifications.
Correct.
Okay. So I want to take a look at like alternative perspectives of this situation. What do
Okay.
you think some could be?
Can you clarify what that means?
Okay, so instead of looking at this situation like, if I don't do this for her, then she'll be upset, or that when you get home you're anxious because you have to do this, 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 and this, what's another way of looking at the situation?
I guess would be looking at it as that while it's important for me to make sure that other people are happy and that I do things for them, it's also important to take care of myself, so that it's okay to sometimes say I'm apologize, but I'm just really too tired, or to just be able to say, we can do this tomorrow, make other plans. Maybe I can't do it now, but we can do it tomorrow or the next day.
That's good. Okay, what would you tell a friend if they were in the same situation?
I guess I would say what I just said, that as much as for them, if it's important that they do certain things like playing with Janie, and and again, it's something that I get joy from. So I do know that there are times when it's okay and it's not the end of the world, and it again, like you used, not there won't be long lasting ramifications, because if the thing is, again, if you don't take care of yourself, you can't be there for someone else. So it's okay to say, not that I don't want to, but I can't right now.
Well, that's good. You're looking at it as for yourself and not necessarily the other person as much.
Well, it's interconnected, because if you don't take care of yourself, you can't be there for other people. So, and again, it's not a long-lasting thing. There's always tomorrow.
So, I guess speaking on that too, what would be the worst thing that could happen in this situation?
Well, I think that the worst thing that could happen would be Janie would be disappointed. She might cry. She would be sad, which would in turn make me feel sad. But really, that's not much more than that.
Okay, so that actually kind of leads into the next question: is could you live through that?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
And you talked about Janie crying and being upset. What would be the likelihood that this would happen?
Probably a good 50 to 75% chance that she
Okay.
would, because she truly enjoys playing with the bar. She looks forward to it and asks me all the time. So it would most likely probably happen.
Okay. So, what do you think would happen over time? So, say you said, no, I'm too tired to do it tonight, and she was upset. What would your relationship be like over time after this?
Oh, I don't think it would be. It would be just a temporary situation. Her parents would back me on it, and and they would understand. And hopefully she would. And then the next day, she'd ask to play with them again. So.
Okay. And what's most likely going to happen in this situation?
If I do, I don't know what you mean. I'm sorry.
What's most likely going to happen in this situation? Like, what are you most likely going to do in this situation?
Most likely, I'm going to take a deep breath. I'm going to realize that that I'm overreacting. That I'll put things in perspective. I'll explain that I need to change and eat something, and then I'll go inside and I'll spend some time to play with her, because it's not that big of a deal, and I actually truly enjoy it, and I did end up doing that and enjoyed it. I sat and talked with her, and it wasn't that long, and she's not really high maintenance, so it worked out very well after I took a deep breath and stepped back.
That's good. That actually kind of goes into the next one too, of what are the advantages of having this automatic thought?
Well, I think the advantages of it are kind of bring me to focus on looking at what's really important in life, and that emotions can control you if you let them. But again, then just to practice taking that deep breath and prioritizing or putting things into perspective, that sometimes that automatic reaction, you jump and make a mountain out of a molehill. But if you just step back, it can be handled, it can be accommodated, and it works out actually very well. But you have to be in control of your thoughts and your emotions.
So what you're saying is, it's nice when you have it in perspective of what's going to happen, so that it's not all stressful at once.
Exactly.
So
yes.
would you say that the disadvantage of this automatic thought is the amount of stress it can bring?
Yes.
Okay.
And if I don't take the deep breath and step back, then it can start to take over everything else and become negative. So yes.
Now, what are some constructive plans that you can make in this situation?
To always have my house clean. I don't know, to be able to tell myself that it's okay to say no if I can't, but say yes if I can, and to look at really in the end what the blessings are and what really the end result is, and it was that I got joy out of spending time with her, because I love children.
So do you think that could be a plan in itself. You having the information to know that you did have a good time last time, you did enjoy it, as like a precursor to thinking about when you take that deep breath, you think, I had fun last time, it'll be okay. Do you think that would be helpful for a plan later on?
I think yes, because I think that bottom line puts things into perspective.
Okay. All right. So one of the last things I would like to do is I want you to re-rate your belief in your automatic thought, which is basically if I don't spend time with Janie, I will let her down. Or if I don't clean, I'll be a bad hostess. How would you rate that automatic thought now?
Being a bad hostess, that probably would be at 0, because really being able to say I'm acknowledging, I'm not available right now, physically or emotionally, because I'm tired. That doesn't make you a bad person. That's reality. Letting her down, that's probably because it would let her down, but not maliciously or intentionally. So I would say that's probably like at a 10 or a 20.
Okay. And then your key emotion, which was anxiety, how would you rate that now that we've gone over all this stuff?
I would say that's probably gone down to maybe a 10 or a 15, because I realized just to step back and put it in perspective, and looking at it, knowing it would not be a long lasting thing, and
Yeah.
we move on to the next day.
That's awesome. All right. Thank you again for doing this with me. And we'll take a look at some other stuff in our next session. Okay.
All right. Thank you so very much in helping me look at that in different ways.
Yes.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.